The premise of the subject-object relationship mediated by the preposition is that the subject exists. This explanation is about the background to interpret the subject-object relationship mediated by the preposition. The preposition is classified as an adverb. The adverb describes the other description. The definition of the adverb is to describe the other description. So, we can wonder about the direct description for the subject of the preposition and the preposition that is classified as an adverb. We can think like an adverb directly describes an indication. We can think of the definition of the be verb that describes the existence of the subject at first. The fact that the speaker indicate a subject or an object with a noun or a pronoun, a pronoun, or the other indicative word means that the subject or the object already exists. Because the subject or the object exists, the speaker can indicate the subject or the object with an indicative word. From this perspective, we can understand that the fact that the speaker states the subject of the preposition sets the premise that the subject already exists. The existence of the subject can be revealed with the application of the be verb, but this description by the be verb can become the premise of indicating the subject or the object with the indicative word. That is the subject of the preposition. So we can understand that the preposition classified as an adverb describes the existence of the subject of the preposition. The existence of the subject is according to the definition of the be verb that can be understood as the abbreviated expression. So we can understand that the description, seemingly the direct description by the preposition for the subject of the preposition is valid. The speaker applies the preposition in a clause that an intransitive verb describes the subject to start and finish the experience, condition, or action. The intransitive verb describes the subject as the object of the statement by the speaker as the subject, who is not revealed in the clause. So the speaker can reveal the subject-object relationship with the application of the preposition additionally for the subject described by the intransitive verb. The speaker who has the extensive perspective about the experience, condition, or action described by the intransitive verb applies the preposition to describe the fact that the experience, condition, or action is conveyed to an object of the preposition. There is a clause for the conference he sits. In this clause, the speaker who states this clause sets the subject as the object of the statement. The speaker as the subject of the statement describes the object of the statement with the intransitive verb sits. The speaker is not revealed in the statement, and the speaker intends to describe the subject of this clause with the subject of this clause described by the intransitive verb to be in the other subject-object relationship mediated by the preposition on. So we can understand that the speaker who has the extensive perspective states the additional subject-object relationship by applying the preposition on. The speaker describes that the action indicated by the intransitive verb sit starts and finishes by the subject. As the speaker, who is the subject of the statement, is not revealed in this clause, we can understand that the subject of this clause is the object of the statement by the speaker. And the speaker focuses on the action of the subject of this clause alone. As we hear this clause, we can think of a male who does not participate in the conversation between us. And we will consider the background of the male, like the green studio. When the movie director applies the computer effect for a movie scene in a fantasy movie, the movie director sets the background as green. We will consider the background of the subject as green, and we will only focus on the subject. We will not consider the place where the subject sits on or sits. So we can understand that the intransitive verb sit only describes the subject. There is a clause that the object that the subject actualizes the action described by the intransitive verb sit. We will continue the imagination. For the subject alone, who actualizes the action of sitting, and we will continuously think of the sofa interact with the subject, he. And the subject is described by the intransitive verb sit. So the subject who interacts with the sofa is not standing up. The subject who actualizes the action according to the definition of the intransitive verb sit interacts with the sofa as the object of the preposition on. So we can understand that the two descriptions by the intransitive verb and the preposition on are continuous. The subject is described by the intransitive verb at first, and this clause is about the action of the subject. And the subject described by the intransitive verb sit is revealed to be in a subject-object relationship with the object, a sofa, mediated by the definition of the preposition on. So in this way, we can understand that the subject of this clause is the subject of the intransitive verb sit and the subject of the preposition on at the same time. However, we can also understand that the description by the intransitive verb sit is prioritized over the subject-object relationship mediated by the definition of the preposition on. The speaker has the extensive perspective to state the subject, he, to actualize the action indicated by the intransitive verb sit, as well as the object interact with the subject in a clause. The speaker applies the preposition on to describe that the action indicated by the intransitive verb sit of the subject is conveyed to the object of the preposition or sofa. We can understand the order of interpretation in this way. The definition of the intransitive verb sit describes the subject, he, and the subject described by the intransitive verb sit is in the other subject-object relationship with the object of the preposition, also mediated by the definition of the preposition on.